Hi everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, of course. Our three topics today going to be NASCAR, MLB, specifically Cleveland Indians, of course, and the high school football season, which is hopefully going to happen. I'm cautiously optimistic about the season. But what I'm pessimistic about, unfortunately, is that, in case you haven't heard, the Big Ten is canceled. That's right, Big Ten is canceled for football, and the Pac-12 is also canceled. Big 12 plans on still going, however, Big Ten, Pac-12, of course, is not easy to have schools go. I mean, you're going to lose a good chunk of money, not to mention perhaps lawsuits and kids all across a giant family, a giant campus. If one person gets COVID, it can spread not just to the team, but spread to everyone. And, of course, they're the more susceptible out there. Very unfortunate that they're going to have to cancel. And hopefully the NCAA doesn't, but it's definitely looking like it's going to happen. Everyone very disappointed. I'm disappointed as well. Quite a shame. I was looking forward to rooting for Akron, which the MAC has also canceled. They were the first to cancel, actually. I was looking forward to rooting for Akron, Notre Dame, Ohio State, but looks like that ain't going to happen. But you know what is happening? I'll tell you what's happening. NASCAR has been going on for the last 3 months. Very hard to believe, but for the last 3 months, NASCAR has been back. And they had another doubleheader. Of course, they've been doubling and tripling up due to the COVID pandemic. But anyways, the Firekeepers 400 with Kevin Harvick winning. It was his 5th win of the season. He had tied Denny Hamlin for most wins in the 2020 season with that victory. And not to mention, Harvick won all 3 stages. He was that good. But you know who was not good? John Hunter Nemechek. He got into multiple wrecks. Had one on the 93rd lap, and then 13 laps later, then on lap 131. And, of course, there was this overtime. You could see Denny Hamlin right there in 4th place. And the one guy that definitely did very well, a surprisingly strong finish, was Bubba Wallace in 9th place. Definitely, he has been fighting for the playoffs all season long like everyone else. And a solid finish for him, and a solid finish, of course, for Denny Hamlin, and solid finish for a lot of guys out here. So, of course, Kevin Harvick won. Then the next day, Kevin Harvick won again at the Consumers Energy 400. Once again at the Michigan Speedway. And he leads all of NASCAR with 6 victories. He also took home Stage 2, while Quint Boyer won Stage 1. And Hamlin and Harvick were, as usual, battling for the final laps, and definitely not surprising because they are some of the best racers out there. And Kyle Busch had a 4th place finish. There's Harvick after the race. Very happy about that. Look at that. 4th win the last 5 races at Michigan. And he's won 3 out of the past 4 years at Michigan. And Jimmy Johnson, who is, of course, riding on his last season, had a strong 11th place finish. Now time to look at the NASCAR standings. Kevin Harvick leads all the racers in points. However, Brad Keselowski is now in 2nd. Hamlin goes down to 3rd. Ryan Blaney is in 4th. These are for points, excluding playoff points. Playoffs are going to happen in September, by the way. But anyways, Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch. Kyle's in 9th. Kurt is in 10th. Eric Jones has the 15th most points, otherwise saying he's in 15th place. And Austin Dillon, who has clinched a playoff spot with a win this season, has the least amount of points for those that have clinched. All I know is that, don't know who's going to win, but once again, all I know is that it's going to be a good finish. I cannot wait to see who's going to win the NASCAR Cup Series. Now time to go to the Cleveland Indians and a little MLB stuff. Gonna start off with the team leaders for the Indians heading into yesterday's game. Cesar Hernandez had 305 average. Jose Ramirez leads us with 4 bombs. RBIs, it's Jose Ramirez with 12. And Shane Bieber has 3 wins. Shane Bieber also has 43 strikeouts. That leads the Cleveland Indians. And Zach Plesac with a 1.29 ERA. And by the way, Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger got caught partying in Chicago, violating team rules, and now they've had to quarantine. Very, very unfortunate because Clevenger was supposed to start last night, and the result, we ended up losing. Very, very disappointing. You know what's not disappointing? His previous start. As we go to transition to the series recaps, Indians against the Reds. The Indians won the Ohio Cup again. What a shocker. 3-1. Mike Clevenger went 5.2 innings, surrendering 2 hits, having 5 walks and 4 strikeouts. And Cesar Hernandez and Jose Ramirez had 2 RBIs. And then in Game 4, Carlos Carrasco had 1 hit through 6 innings. And the Indians put up 10 runs in the 7th inning. That's right, double digits, 10 runs. And then the Indians were playing the White Sox. The Indians won that series 2-1. And Savali had 7 innings and 1 run. And Mangle with a home run in Game 1 and 420 for the White Sox, who won that game. Then Zach Plesac threw 6 shutout innings, and the Indians put up 6 runs. The Indians put up 6 runs in the 4th inning. And then in the 3rd game, the Indians won. By the way, I made a whole special call when I was announcing at my home, of course. I'm not a professional announcer. I do host this talk show as I try to get there. Yeah. Here it is, folks. This is my commentary, by the way. Hope you can hear it. We all know it's easier to score runs now in extra innings because of that man at second. 2 on, 1 out, 1 ball, no strikes. Gonna try bunt again. Gets a good butt down. Run got score. He is in there. And we are up 4-3. What hustle there by Jose Ramirez. So I hope you enjoyed that, folks. Definitely fun to do that. I was going to show my commentary on Franmil Reyes hitting go-ahead home run for the Indians a little while ago, but it didn't send, and I realized, oh wait, I can do it on my phone. And then put it right here on this post-it note, where a camera right over there, where I'm pointing, could film it. Anyways, of course, the Indians lost last night to the Cubs 7-1, but the Indians, when they score in bunches. I was saying this to my family, and excuse me for this, but the Indians remind me a lot of Donkey Kong's coconut gun in Donkey Kong 64. They fire in spurts. If we shoot ya, it's gonna hurt. That's the DK rap, one of the most infamous songs of all time, and it just so happens to be one of my favorite songs of DK rap. I had to refer to that. Anyways, in other news, the Houston Sign Stealers, they got in some trouble against Oakland. I have to talk about the Sign Stealers because I hate the Sign Stealers. They have officially gone skidding. They blew a 4-0 lead to Arizona and lost 14-7. Well, I believe Cool Calhoun had an inside the park home run. And then the Sign Stealers got swept to Oakland. Oakland never hit any better by Houston, but the A's had 5 hit batters. And Ramon Laureano, who got hit, was upset at at Houston because Houston was mocking them. And Laureano got mad. He charged at the Astros bench, or Sign Stealers bench, and they got to a fight. And the bench coach, or hitting coach, I forget who it was, but an Astros coach has been suspended 20 games. 20 games. That's 1/3 of the season. That's awesome. Unfortunately, Laureano got suspended 6 games. But Rob Manfred is officially terrible. It reminds me a lot of a weenie who goes to Weenie Hut Juniors. That is right, Weenie Hut Juniors, where they have Mega Weenie Monday or is it Friday? I forget the whole thing. But yes, just like Patrick and SpongeBob, they go to Weenie Hut Juniors. Ron Manfred probably meets them there. He officially hates baseball, by the way. And, of course, he loves the Sign Stealers for no reason. And, of course, everyone hates him, but it'll be a great day once he leaves. And hopefully that day comes soon, because nobody likes Ron Manfred. He is terrible. Terrible. But you know what's not terrible? High school football is crossing my fingers, hopefully coming back soon. Double crossing my fingers. Crossing my fingers, crossing my arms while I'm at it, because I'm really hoping we're playing. But anyways, here are the rules for 2020 only, at least in the OHSAA. A 6-game season. Every team gets invited to the playoffs. If they don't participate in the playoffs, or if they lose in the playoffs, they can schedule more games. If they choose to do this, they can play a maximum of 10 games. And the season must end by November 14th, and the championships will be done by November 21st. This will help prevent COVID from spreading to more people and schools. And, by the way, home teams can broadcast their own games, by the way. Of course, OHSAA has a plan. They look to play. All they're waiting for is the governor, Mike DeWine, to give them the okay sign. Of course, John Houston, Lieutenant Governor, said that he wants them to play. He tweeted about a few days ago. So hopefully this happens. But anyway, it's time to look at each team recap, because I don't know what the schedules are going to be in 6 games. And, of course, with every team making the playoffs. But anyways, the Aurora Greenmen, who had a run to the Final Four last year, they are loaded up and talented. They have many weapons on offense and defense. And you can sure bet they will have a lot of damage out there. Barberton Magics are another good team, and if they play Aurora this season, it's going to be a neck-and-neck classic. Like, pretend this is Aurora's neck and this is Barberton's neck. Neck and neck. Very close. It'll be a close race to the finish. Who will win? But anyways, they will battle Aurora for the American Conference, and both teams are locked in for 2020. Copley Indians, this team isn't as good as the previous two we talked about, but they're still good. I'm not saying they're bad. They're not on the level of Aurora Barberton, but they are still a mighty, strong, and solid team. A 6-game season, by the way, can give them a better chance at the playoffs this year. And if they play Revere, one of their biggest rivals, it will for sure be a confidence booster for them and perhaps the playoffs. Meanwhile, Highland Horns, for those that don't know, my YouTube channel, the Highland Horns Sports Network, by the way, on YouTube, which you should subscribe so you can get Highland football. I've been uploading videos, of course, on Highland football, as I previously mentioned, showing practice, showing the players. They enjoy it. But anyways, with that aside, with that commercial, I guess, quote, commercial aside, we are a seriously underrated team. We have a good chance to sneak up on Aurora and Barberton. I'm just saying. There's going to be many upsets out of Highland. I don't know if I will be at the games. Remember, I do not cover football games due to marching band. Of course, I do cover basketball and baseball. No baseball, of course, because OHSAA was like, nope, that ain't happening. But anyways, it's still fun to watch. And if they play Revere, it will for sure be if they play Revere, just like I was reading Copley, by the way, but if they play Revere, if they play Copley, if they play all those schools, if they win, it'll be huge confidence boosters, just like what I said for Copley against Revere. But anyways, speaking of Revere, here are the Minutemen for you. They're not considered to be the best, but they are a very good team. They could end up with a winning record, and they are a team that can definitely do well. I mean, that's just a great team out there. And, of course, the Roosevelt Rough Riders in Kenton, Ohio, in Portage County, a long drive from my house and a long drive from Highland and Granger, and probably a long drive from Wadsworth, and pretty much everyone in the suburban league except for Aurora. But they surprised many last year with a really good record, and they're not done yet. They are looking for more. And if they choose to be in the playoffs, they could definitely go far. And they will be building off last year and perhaps do better, perhaps in an American Conference. The Talmadge Blue Devils can show signs of their golden age and how well they did in the 2000s and early 2010s. With a short season comes a better opportunity. They resemble Copley to me. I mean, you never know. They resemble Copley in my opinion. And why do I say that? Well, it's because if they do well, or they could do well now, and they can make a serious run. Meanwhile, there's the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees, who were incredible last season. They set all of Northeast Ohio and Cuyahoga County on fire. And once again, it looks like they'll be battling Wadsworth for the National Conference. And they're a good team, and teams that play them will definitely have a hard time. And meanwhile, there's the Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers. That's right. Next year, they will be moving to the American Conference due to some struggles in the National Conference with an American Conference. They definitely have a better opportunity, but they will still look very well this season. With the smaller schedule, it gives them optimism. I remember last year, they won their first 2 games of the season, I believe. So if they can do that, win their first 2 games again, that means they've won a third of their season already, which is very good. And the Hudson Explorers, just like Brecksville, they surprised all in Northeast Ohio last year, winning the National Conference with Brecksville and Wadsworth. And if they play Wadsworth, it will be a big marquee matchup. They can make a run the playoffs, and I would be surprised if they don't make it far. They should do well. And the Nordonia Knights, similar to Revere, and because they're a team that could certainly catch teams by surprise and win 3-4 games, maybe 5. You never know. It's high school football. Every team has a shot in high school football. Now time for the final 3 schools, including the Stone Monroe Falls Bulldogs. And after not doing as well as I expected them last season, there's one way to go. Up! They're a storied school. Larry Zonka went there, by the way, I believe. And they're looking to do well. They could win the National Conference if they can catch on fire. Twinsburg Tigers are an underappreciated team that can make some noise and will be a fun team. And Wadsworth, they are one of the best teams in the National Conference. I know you can't see conference. That was a mistake by me. But they can win many big games, make a run to the playoffs. And they're just a team that you definitely should highlight, Wadsworth. But anyways, I did not mention North Royalton because right now North Royalton says that they will not be playing any high school football. But with what we've been seeing, especially in Cuyahoga County, the amount of schools that were originally not going to be playing for fall went up here. If you can see my hand all the way up at the top of the screen right there. All the way down to, well, you can't see it anymore, but you get the gist. Less schools will not be playing and more schools will be playing, which is good. My predictions, I feel like Aurora and Barberton should, of course, they will battle each other for the American Conference. Wadsworth should win the National Conference. But really, this is a one season in which everything is going to be different. Everything's going to change. I can't wait to see how it goes down. And for those at home, please make sure you enjoy the football season, please. I don't know if we'll have a season, but we're 16 days away. I know I usually do standings and predict every game, but this year I really cannot due to the changes. Of course, one more thing to talk about, by the way, and for those that didn't watch Columbus and Tampa last night in the NHL, the game went to 5 overtimes. First time since 2000, I believe, in which a game has gone to quintuple overtimes. And it was the 4th longest game in NHL history. One game in that also had quintuple overtimes. And, of course, there were 2 games that had sextuple overtimes, 1933 and 1936, which is unbelievable. Stanley Cups that year. Very crazy to think. I know I'm not really a hockey fan because, of course, I'm a Cleveland person, but still, and besides, I root for the Penguins. Yeah, they didn't do well. They lost in 4 games. Carey Price was the equivalent of not just a brick wall, but a steel wall, an indestructible wall. Pittsburgh couldn't get anything in, and it definitely looks like it is the end of an era in Pittsburgh. Quite a shame. And, yes, but you know what's not a shame? We're going to be back here tomorrow, or next week, I should say, next week, which reminds me, wear a mask so you can watch high school football, so the kids can play high school football. That's all for Tommy Maroon Sports Show right here on WCTV. Till then, I'm, of course, Tommy Maroon, saying goodbye from Wadsworth, Ohio, and please enjoy the rest of the week.